I know what you're thinking. This is the natural habitat of the Ferrari Portofino, sitting by the seaside in a fancy-sounding town, with passers-by going, "Look, a Ferrari." It's easy to look down on Ferrari's front-engine convertibles, compared with the likes of the F8 Tributo or SF90 Stradale, or even the 812 Superfast. They look like the poser's choice, more foreshore than Fiorano. But this is a bit different. This is the Ferrari Portofino M, and it is a proper Ferrari. By that I mean it won't just put the wind in your hair, it'll set it on fire too. The M stands for Modificata, or Ferrari speak for evolution, and this is quite a different car to the brand's previous front-engine convertibles. Raw numbers illustrate just how far this model line has come. Compared to the original California, the Portofino M produces 117 more kilowatts and 275 more newton meters, yet it's 70 kilograms lighter. Do the maths, and the power to weight ratio has increased by 40%. A Ferrari engine isn't just a piece of engineering, but a work of art. Open the bonnet and the vivid red cam covers and complex pipework look like some sort of exotic animal. The 3.9 litre twin-turbo V8 revs to 7,500 RPM and produces 456 kilowatts and 760 newton meters. However, it only hits that peak in 7th and 8th gear. This is because Ferrari uses variable boost mapping to increase the torque in each successive gear. It works brilliantly, preventing the rear tyres from being too overwhelmed in the lower gears. But it doesn't make for the slightly unsettling sensation of never-ending acceleration. It seems our bodies are programmed to automatically expect a decrease in performance when you change gear. But because you literally have more power available, it just keeps going. Whoa! Fast car. Ferrari claims a very precise 3.45 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour. But it's a 0 to 200 figure that's just nuts. 9.8 seconds. That's about as fast as the Ferrari Enzo. The dual clutch gearbox now has 8 gears instead of 7. This allows gears 1 to 7 to be shorter to improve performance, with the tall 8th gear reducing fuel consumption. Ferrari's gearbox engineers are just wizards. The shifts are so fast and so immediate, and downshifts allowed so early, it just doesn't seem mechanically possible. I'm a paddle on the wheel kind of guy, but because Ferrari has relocated all the switchgear to the steering wheel, it can have these massive carbon paddles, so they're always there when you need them. Much of the chassis is carried over from the Portofino, and that's no bad thing. I've got massive carbon ceramic brakes, plenty of rubber at each corner, an electronically controlled LSD, and all manner of electronic safety systems. But it's one seemingly insignificant addition that's transformed the Portofino M, and that's this. This is the Manettino drive mode selector, and in the California and Portofino, it's always had 3 positions: Comfort, Sport, and ESC off, and that's been a problem. Sport was way too restrictive, cutting power the moment it sensed even any potential wheel slip, whereas ESC off, on the road, in a $500,000 car? No. Happily, the Portofino M now scores the 5-position selector from Ferrari sports cars, and this includes wet mode for maximum security and race mode. This backs off the electronics and activates side slip control. Now in its 6th generation, this electronic witchcraft has an algorithm that estimates what the car's slip angle should be, so it somehow knows whether you're being a driving legend or about to throw it off the road. It's honestly spooky how good it is. You're never really aware of any intervention, other than the fact that you suddenly seem to be an excellent driver. More importantly, the car feels free. able to express so much more of its personality, though it must be said that the Portofino's sport mode is much better than the California's. Even without the extra grunt in the new gearbox, this tweak alone gives the Portofino so much more credence as a proper driver's car. So that's that. The Portofino M is a proper Ferrari worthy of your admiration, but it's not quite that simple. In a way, the Portofino has the toughest gig of all Ferraris, because not only does it have to thrill its driver, but relax them too. While the Portofino might be sharper than ever, it's also very comfy. Ferrari's control of damping is just unbelievably good. Not only has Ferrari made huge strides in performance in the last decade, but also with interiors. Yeah, there was always nice leather and carbon fibre and fancy stitching, but the actual car bits, like the aircon and infotainment and switchgear, left a bit to be desired. No longer. I now have a digital display either side of this beautiful central tachometer, a 10.25-inch infotainment touchscreen with smartphone mirroring, another 7-inch touchscreen for the passenger, and all the latest active safety tech like adaptive cruise, blind spot monitoring, auto emergency braking, lane departure warning, surround view camera, yada yada yada. Visually, the Portofino M hasn't changed much. Just this vent ahead of the front wheel arch to reduce drag and aluminium slats in the grille. Now at the rear, the use of petrol particulate filters has allowed Ferrari to remove the exhaust silencers and shrink the bumper. It's not going to replace the F40 on anyone's desktop wallpaper, but it looks exotic enough to turn heads, roof up or down. And here's something you might not know. Ferrari's after-sales service is industry leading. Every new Ferrari comes with 7 years of included servicing. 7 years included. And you can extend the warranty up to 15 years. Now that is confidence in your product. Right, so if you're in the market for a super fast, super flash convertible, is the Portofino M the one to buy? This is going to sound like a bit of a cop-out, but it really depends. There are lots of cars in this segment and they're all really good. Bentley Continental GT, Mercedes AMG S63, Porsche 911 Turbo S, not to mention coupes like the McLaren GT and Ferrari's own Roma. What's certain is that if you are in the market, then don't dismiss the Portofino M, because it can do a lot more than just cruise by the seaside.